The wind howled like a mournful spirit as Kale and Elara descended into the heart of the whispering woods. The dragon settled on a bed of moss, its scales blending seamlessly with the verdant surroundings. The air hung heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth, a stark contrast to the opulent perfumes of the palace. "The trees here are ancient," Kale said, his voice hushed with reverence. "They say they whisper secrets to those who listen." Elara nodded, her eyes scanning the gnarled trunks and twisted branches. "Let us listen then," she said, her voice a soft echo in the stillness. They dismounted from the dragon, leaving it to rest after its long flight. Hand in hand, they ventured deeper into the woods, their footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of moss. The sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, casting dappled shadows on their path. As they walked, Elora felt a strange energy thrumming through the air, a subtle vibration that resonated with the rhythm of her own heartbeat. She glanced at Kale, but his expression was unreadable. They came to a clearing, where a ring of towering trees stood like silent sentinels. In the center of the clearing was a gnarled old oak, its branches reaching towards the sky like skeletal arms. "This is it," Kale said, his voice filled with a sense of knowing. Elara approached the oak, drawn by an unseen force. She reached out, her fingers brushing against the rough bark. A jolt of energy surged through her, leaving her breathless. "What was that?" she asked, her voice laced with wonder. Kale stepped forward, his hand resting on her shoulder. "The tree is sharing its knowledge with you," he said. "Listen closely." Elara closed her eyes, focusing her senses. She could hear the whispering voices of the trees, their words blending together in a harmonious chorus. The voices spoke of ancient battles, of forgotten magic, of love and loss. Then, a single voice rose above the others, its tone clear and distinct. "The prophecy is not set in stone," the voice said. "There is always a choice." Elara's eyes snapped open, her heart pounding in her chest. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her voice filled with excitement. Kale nodded, his eyes gleaming with a newfound hope. "We have a chance," he said. "I chance to defy fate." They turned towards each other, their hands reaching out to clasp together. In that moment, surrounded by the ancient trees and the whispers of the past, they knew that their love was stronger than any prophecy. Meanwhile, in the Solaris Empire Palace, Seraphina paced restlessly in her chambers, her mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. Lysandra lay curled on the bed, her body still bearing the marks of their recent encounter. She watched Seraphina with half-lidded eyes, a knowing smirk playing on her lips. "You're distracted," Lysandra purred, her voice a silken thread. "What troubles you, my queen?" Seraphina paused, her gaze locking onto Lysandra's. "Elara," she spat, the name tasting like poison on her tongue. "She's a threat to everything I've worked for." Lysandra raised an eyebrow. "Jealousy is not a good look on you, my dear," she said, her voice laced with amusement. Seraphina's eyes narrowed. "Don't be foolish," she snapped. "This is not about jealousy. It's about power." She resumed her pacing, her mind churning with a new plan. "Elara must be eliminated," she said, her voice a chilling whisper. "And I know just the person to do it." Lysandra smiled, a predatory gleam in her eyes. "Tell me more," she said, her voice dripping with anticipation. Seraphina turned to face her, a cruel smile spreading across her lips. "It's time to unleash the hounds," she said, her voice filled with a dark promise.